Far from the Madding Crowd is a novel by Thomas Hardy, published in 1874. The first of Hardy's Wessex novel, it is set in the fictional England town of Wessex. Far from the Madding Crowd is from the third-person perspective of an omniscient narrator who provides the perspective of different characters like Gabriel, Bathsheba, Troy, Boldwood, and the Greek chorus of the farmhands at Warren's malt house while making general statements. This is a tragic, romantic novel written in a realist style in the Victorian era. Before we start, do like, share and subscribe. Far from the Madding Crowd begins with a young farmer named Gabriel Oak who invests his savings into sheep farming. One day, he observes Bathsheba Everdeen in a carriage admiring herself in a mirror. Later, he inadvertently embarrasses her by mentioning this encounter. Soon Bathsheba rescues Gabriel from a fire, sparking his admiration for her. Gabriel goes to Mrs. Hurst, her aunt's home, to propose marriage to Bathsheba, but she's not home, and her aunt informs him of her many suitors, so disheartened Gabriel leaves. Bathsheba clarifies that she's not interested in marriage and values her independence. Bathsheba goes to Weatherbury to take over her recently deceased uncle's farm. Gabriel's sheep fall off a cliff, leaving him penniless. He seeks work near Weatherbury and impresses Bathsheba by managing a fire on her farm. She hires him as a shepherd. Meanwhile, gossip swirls around the town, revealing scandalous news of theft by bailiff Pennywise and Bathsheba's missing servant, Fanny Robin. Fanny Robin's disappearance is revealed to be her elopement with Sergeant Francis Troy, whom she had met previously, and Gabriel unknowingly aided her with some money. Troy promises to marry Fanny. Fanny sends Gabriel the money back along with a letter explaining her upcoming marriage but requests secrecy. Meanwhile, Bathsheba faces doubts as a female farmer but impresses at the corn market, drawing attention from most men, except for Mr. Boldwood, a middle-aged farmer. Feeling slighted by the hilarious suggestion of Liddy Smallberry, her servant, Bathsheba sends a playful valentine to Boldwood, sealing it with a joke seal saying "Marry me." Boldwood, shocked, seeks Gabriel's help to identify the handwriting, and an upset Gabriel confirms it to be Bathsheba's. Boldwood, now enamored by Bathsheba's beauty, proposes to her at the market. Bathsheba, uncomfortable and regretful, declines but Boldwood persists, believing she reciprocates his feelings. Despite not loving him, Bathsheba considers the moral repercussions of her sending him a love letter. She discusses this with Gabriel, who disappoints her with his disapproval. However, when Gabriel saves Bathsheba's sheep from potential poisoning when they into clover, she tries to persuade him to stay, once again turning on her charm. During the sheep shearing time, Boldwood proposes to Bathsheba once more, and she, feeling the need to reconcile for her past actions, agrees to try to love him but requests some time before making a promise. Excited, Boldwood accepts. Later that evening, Bathsheba accidentally encounters a charming soldier, whom Liddy suspects is Sergeant Troy, known for his flirty nature. Later, he formally introduces himself and asks her to meet him at night. Bathsheba finds herself falling for Troy after their playful interactions and a subsequent kiss. Gabriel, noticing Bathsheba's affection for Troy, tries to reason with her, reminding her of her commitment to Boldwood. Bathsheba, enraged, orders Gabriel to leave. With Liddy, Bathsheba struggles with her feelings for Troy while worrying about his character. She ultimately decides to break off her engagement with Boldwood, but their encounter leaves Boldwood furious at Troy, who is out of town for a couple of days. Concerned about potential conflict and to warn Troy, Bathsheba leaves secretly at night, but Gabriel and Jan Coggin, thinking her horse was stolen, track her down to a toll booth and choose to keep her whereabouts secret. Bathsheba is absent for weeks, during which Caney Ball informs the farmhands that he saw her with Troy in Bath. Gabriel, troubled, hears Bathsheba's voice one night and assumes she's home now. Meanwhile, Boldwood, seeing Troy in town, decides to pay him to marry Fanny to fulfill his obligation. However, upon witnessing Bathsheba's deep affection for Troy, Boldwood, devastated, offers to pay Troy to marry her instead. Troy, mocking Boldwood, presents him with a newspaper claiming he and Bathsheba are already married. Bathsheba becomes increasingly disillusioned with Troy due to his laziness, drinking habits, gambling and horse racing. During a stormy harvest dinner, despite Gabriel's warnings, Troy indulges the workers with brandy, leaving only Gabriel and Bathsheba to protect the farm. Later, while leaving the Casterbridge market with Bathsheba, Troy recognizes a destitute woman, Fanny, and promises to help her. Back home, Bathsheba finds a lock of blonde hair in Troy's watch case, which Troy claims belongs to his previous lover. Shortly after, news arrives of Fanny's death, raising suspicions about Troy's involvement. Bathsheba arranges for Fanny's burial, discovering a heartbreaking truth: Fanny had a child, which Gabriel had tried to conceal by rubbing out the "and child" label from Fanny's coffin. Troy, upon seeing Fanny's body, declares his love for her and abandons Bathsheba. He spends his remaining money on Fanny's gravestone engraving and planting flowers on her grave that the rain destroys. Troy decides to swim near Budmouth but is swept away by the water currents. Rescued by a passing boat, he joins the sailors on a voyage to America for 6 months. In Weatherbury, Bathsheba initially refuses to accept Troy's reported death. Boldwood suggests they marry 7 years after Troy's disappearance when she will be a legal widow, but Bathsheba hesitates, feeling conflicted about her obligations to him. At a late summer fair, Troy resurfaces as part of a circus, plotting with bailiff Pennyways to reclaim Bathsheba and her farm. During Christmas time, Boldwood throws an extravagant party and once again proposes to Bathsheba, who reluctantly agrees to marry him on the agreed-upon date. However, their moment is interrupted by Troy's sudden appearance. He demands Bathsheba leave with him. Bathsheba screams when Troy grabs her arm, and Boldwood intervenes by fatally shooting Troy. Boldwood surrenders to the authorities in Casterbridge jail. Gabriel returns with a doctor to find Bathsheba composed with Troy's head in her lap. Later at home, she breaks down with guilt. Initially sentenced to death, Boldwood's sentence is changed to life imprisonment due to a petition. Gabriel, planning to leave, surprises Bathsheba by deciding to take on Boldwood's farm. Bathsheba confesses she had been hoping for Gabriel to propose again. Ecstatic, Gabriel agrees to marry her in a simple ceremony. Despite their modest wedding, their joy is shared by the farmhands, who gather to celebrate their union with music and well wishes. Let's analyze Far from the Madding Crowd. The title Far from the Madding Crowd originates from Thomas Gray's poem Elegy written in a country churchyard, published in 1750. Far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife, their sober wishes never learned to stray. Along the cool sequestered vale of life they kept the noiseless tenor of their way. These verses suggest a serene escape from the chaos of a frantic society. However, Hardy's novel uses this irony to depict a countryside fraught with conflict rather than tranquility. Characters face struggles not only against nature's forces but also interpersonal conflicts mirroring the natural world's adversities. Nature often disrupts human plans and desires, as seen in Gabriel Oak's sheep disaster, which drastically alters his circumstances despite his years of investment. Yet, Gabriel learns to overcome natural dangers, evidenced by his adept handling of a fire in Weatherbury and saving lambs from clover poisoning. While Troy struggles with uncontrollable circumstances after Fanny's death, railing against natural laws rather than adapting. The rain ruins his planted grave flowers, and he gets swept by the river's strong currents. Bathsheba also confronts challenges within nature, with Troy becoming another source of conflict. His actions, like plying workers with alcohol, endanger the farm during a storm, highlighting humans' role in mollifying or worsening natural conflicts. Characters' lives intertwine with nature's rhythms, emphasizing the passage of time, changing seasons, and agricultural cycles. Gabriel's success stems from his acclimatizing with nature, contrasting with others like Troy who exploit it for profit. Bathsheba Everdeen faces dual challenges as she asserts herself in a male-dominated world and steers societal expectations of women. Despite her confidence and independence, Bathsheba encounters a range of reactions from admiration to condescension as she assumes control of her uncle's farm. While Oak and Boldwood accept her authority, others view her with skepticism, subjecting her to heightened scrutiny and judgment due to her gender. Despite Hardy's attempts to portray Bathsheba as capable and confident, the Far from the Madding Crowd occasionally lapses into stereotypical portrayals of female weaknesses. Reflecting the era's gender norms. Bathsheba's determination to prove herself independent clashes with societal pressure to marry for convention rather than love. Despite her success in managing the farm, Bathsheba remains reliant on Gabriel's support during crises, highlighting the limitations of her perceived independence. Bathsheba's defiance of societal norms is apparent in her actions, from riding astride to overtly addressing doubts about her abilities as a female employer. Bathsheba rode as springing to her accustomed perpendicular like a bowed sapling, and satisfying herself that nobody was in sight, she seated herself in the manner demanded by the saddle. though hardly expected of the woman, and trotted off in the direction of Tunnel Mill. She declared to her farm employees, "Now mind, you have a mistress instead of a master. I don't yet know my powers or my talents in farming, but I shall do my best, and if you serve me well, so shall I serve you. Don't any unfair ones among you suppose that because I'm a woman I don't understand the difference between bad goings-on and good." She challenges stereotypes at the corn market, where commentary often focuses on her appearance rather than her business acumen. "Yes, 'tis a pity she's so headstrong," the first would say. "But we ought to be proud of her here, she lightens up the old place. 'Tis such a shapely maid, however, that she'll soon get picked up." Despite facing dismissive attitudes, Bathsheba refuses to conform to traditional gender roles, insisting on the freedom her position affords her as mistress of the farm. Beyond mere rebellion against societal expectations, Bathsheba relishes her unique position of authority, finding novelty and pleasure in her role. Besides, Bathsheba's position as absolute mistress of a farm and house was a novel one, and the novelty had not yet begun to wear off. Despite her criticisms, Bathsheba embraces her autonomy and exercises her rights as a woman in a male-dominated society. Through her actions and attitudes, Bathsheba embodies a defiance of convention and a pursuit of personal freedom, challenging Victorian assumptions about women's roles in public life. Let's analyze far from the madding crowd four important symbols. Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak's financial investments in sheep serve as more than mere agricultural assets. Instead, they represent the precariousness of rural life, where one event can drastically alter fortunes. The sheep symbolize vulnerability, easily led astray to their demise by various dangers such as over a cliff by a dog or into poisonous clover fields. Gabriel's connection with sheep reflects his nurturing and dependable nature. From bringing a lamb as a gift for Bathsheba at Mrs. Hurst's place to tending lambs himself, he embodies the role of a caring shepherd. His empathy is obvious when he inadvertently wounds a sheep while distracted by Bathsheba's interactions with Bulwood, symbolizing his own emotional pain. This empathy defines Gabriel's character, as he shares in the suffering of both man and animal. Both Gabriel Oak and Sergeant Troy possess watches that reflect their respective characters. Gabriel's watch is a small clock as to size. This instrument, being several years older than Oak's grandfather, had the peculiarity of going either too fast or not at all. Gabriel's silver watch is utilitarian and flawed, often requiring manual adjustment of shaking. Gabriel sometimes has to make celestial observations to keep time. Despite its imperfections, Gabriel's watch embodies his practicality and determination to overcome ordeals independently. On the other hand, Troy's watch is opulent and extravagant as it is a heavy gold watch inscribed within it Sedamor rebus, love yields to circumstance. It's the motto of the Earls of Severn. Bathsheba is surprised when Troy gifts her his father's gold watch shortly after meeting her. This impulsive gesture symbolizes Troy's recklessness and his tendency to rush relationships, driven by passion rather than consideration. His actions reveal a disregard for tradition and familial sentiment, foreshadowing his lack of commitment to marriage and duty to either Fanny or Bathsheba. While Bathsheba's own lost watch perhaps hints at her past rejection of Gabriel's proposal. Hope you like, share and subscribe for more videos.